Hardcore Classic WoW is worth your time more than any other MMO out right now. Recently I've been playing WoW quite a bit. I've enjoyed the game in multiple versions, and I've done a wide variety of the content that it offers. In my time playing WoW and through the peaks and valleys of content, I've stumbled upon a new way to play the game. It is a way to breathe new life into an old classic. Something visceral is happening here, and it's hard to explain it in a way that it captivates the same way that playing it does. We've all heard the cliche, it's not the destination, it's the journey. However, I think that there's some real wisdom here when we look at it in the context of hardcore classic WoW. Before we explore this point, I think it's important to look at current WoW to highlight some key differences that are instrumental in understanding the appeal of hardcore classic WoW. In retail, the game exists mostly for the endgame. You reach max level on your character of choice, and then it's up to you if you want to farm rep or do some crafting, or maybe slam some keys and push your Raider IO. I will speak primarily from my experience, and the content that I chose to do was Mythic Plus. I am by no means a god gamer, but I do enjoy challenging myself and trying to improve. The gameplay loop that I experienced in retail consisted of logging on and trying to get into keystone groups. As a healer, this wasn't much of a challenge, but I would be remiss in failing to mention the glaring issue that the game has if you are not a tank or healer, which is that it's difficult to get into a keystone group in the first place. However, that may be something to discuss at a different time. Retail has the best mechanics to date in WoW. Classes feel amazing to play. They feel complete, and no matter what class you play, you do have a place in the game. As you move higher and higher, there's definitely a meta to follow where people will prefer to take the classes that are the highest performing, but for the vast majority of players who are not running 25 plus keys, the balance is truly impressive. The problem with retail is not mechanical, it's not aesthetic, and it's not narrative. The real issue for me is the gameplay loop. To simplify, and for the purpose of this discussion, my gameplay loop consisted of logging on and then looking for a list of available dungeons, each of which I've ran almost 50 times, and choosing which one to do. Since I was being incentivized to push my rating higher, the scaling of the keystones got exponentially more difficult, requiring equal amounts of focus. Gear acquisition slowed down to a crawl, where I was forced to wait for my weekly vault for any meaningful upgrade. This eventually became less fun because it required more effort for little reward. I know some people like to put a lot of effort into the games they play, but I play games to relax and escape the crushing realities of life. Enter Classic Hardcore. At first I thought it was going to be super sweaty like retail was for me. I assumed it would be something that I couldn't just chill and enjoy. I really hate to admit it, but I was wrong. Hardcore Classic WoW really is not that difficult. The only thing the extra challenge really does is it makes you have to actually progress your character at every stage to make sure that you're safe, because death equals delete. This means that every single piece of gear that you get is felt. Compared to getting that weekly vault piece in retail, this was a breath of fresh air. Personally, I'm leveling a warlock, and when I got my wand from enchanting, it was a lot like...
Behold, the sword of 1,000 truths.
We must get this sword to the ones who have proven they have no life.
Suddenly, mobs were melting in front of me in a satisfying display of power. It made me feel so much more safe than previously when I had to cast and use my mana and would find myself in situations where I was and in danger. So progression is the main takeaway here. Progression is why most of us play MMOs. We feel like our characters get stronger, and we like to take on new challenges. I think this is what Hardcore Classic nails really well. Since it's not about endgame, every single quest you do ends up feeling like meaningful progression. Getting my Imp and then getting my Voidwalker, getting Fear and then Sacrifice. Every single point of progression was felt in an impactful way. Getting a 4-stam chest piece felt just as good as getting that weekly vault upgrade in retail. Taking on the trolls in Dun Moreau for their Shimmerweed felt more tense than fighting heroic Razagath.
That thing's kinda wacky. Okay, one's dead, one's dead. Careful of the one spawning in the back. I can fear the Strider. Do you need it?
I'm healing. I'm healing.
Okay, you're healing. No, someone's helping. Someone's helping. Alright, dude. Alright.
Easy. We're gamers. We're fucking gamers here.
This is our
we
chest.
Game.
This is our chest. We earned this shit, bitch. Hell yeah, baby.
Because of how long you're in one zone, getting to the next one feels incredible. Each one has its own interesting hurdles to get through, like Hogger and Elwyn or the Tunnel Rat Cave in Loch Modan. The challenges are definitely there, but it's different. It's not a challenge because of how much the content scales, but it's a challenge because of the random things that can happen when you're out in the world. Maybe you just killed a tunnel rat and another one spawned, but you're deep in the cave and running out would be nearly impossible. This makes for some tense moments, but overall the experience is chill. My friends who are employed found it much easier to unwind with leveling in Hardcore Classic as opposed to pushing keys in retail. So what about the gameplay loop? We talked about retail and how that felt, so let's explore how Classic Hardcore compares. In Classic WoW Hardcore I log on and I can get straight into questing. This directly increases my power through spells and talent points gained from leveling. I can choose to grind for gold and materials, I can level my professions. The key point is this: no matter what I do in Classic WoW, I'm progressing my character and making it stronger. This is not the case in retail, where eventually your only progression comes from weekly vaults. I think this is what leads to the game eventually losing its appeal despite having amazing mechanics and class design. I could only convince myself to grind M+ with no reward for so long. Hardcore Classic never has the same drop-off in progression. As a result, I found myself becoming attached to my character in a way that I hadn't felt since vanilla. The feeling of wonder is still there, and the pace is satisfying. I should elaborate that I haven't been playing standard hardcore, but instead playing a custom rule set that allows me to play alongside some friends. We only allow trading within the guild, and death still equals delete. I know I probably haven't done justice in explaining just how compelling this way to play the game really is. Like I said in the beginning of the video, it's really hard to explain the magic here without feeling it. I really believe Hardcore Classic is worth your time more than any other MMO out currently, and it's not close. So go ahead, take on Hogger, or Vagash, brave the dead mines, or run away frantically from Stitches, and experience the World of Warcraft like you never have before. Slow and steady and with everything mattering, not just the end. Try it yourself and let me know what you thought. At the end of the day, it's not going to be for everyone, but maybe this video will get your journey started. I stream live on Twitch at twitch.tv/croutonishere. Drop a follow and come hang out and enjoy this journey with me. Thanks for watching and try to stay alive out there.